Crushes. What do they do? What do they eat? Where do they live? Welcome to another episode of the Pode Ligar podcast. Today, we are going to be talking about crushes. Oh, this is a topic I was so excited about, guys. Like you have no idea. I love to joke about this because my friends know me and they just know I have like a different crush every single week. And I don't know what's up with that. Like it's just interesting. It's fun. It's fun to think that people are cute and that people are cool. And I love when I love to call them, like some people call them eye candy. I love to call them eye drops because they just make your sight better. You get what I mean? So I love to find little eye drops in my classes and they just make life interesting. They just make me excited about doing something that maybe I didn't want to do. Hence, go to school sometimes. So, crushes are something that are part of all of our lives. Like I genuinely, unless you're asexual, but even then, I think we all have crushes. I think we all go through a phase where everyone's like kind of a target and we're looking for people and we're trying to find people cute. And today we're going to be talking about how that happens. How to get over a crush. Why do we feel that way about people? What is up with all of that? So yeah, welcome to today's episode. I hope you find this fun and, I don't know, interesting, and let's go. So, we all have crushes. We learn at a young age that having someone by your side is something that is almost like inevitable. After all, we all came from somebody that one day was with somebody else. So it's almost natural that from birth, we know that one day we're going to find another person. And so it all begins with like finding your other half. Like for girls, oh my God, my mom, I think she said this to me so many times in my life. She was always like, you're going to find your Prince Charming. You're going to find your boy. And I'm like, and I don't know why, but the idea of the Prince Charming always like cringed me out a little bit. Even as a kid, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna find the Prince Charming. Because I don't know, a part of me always knew that the Prince Charming was like fantasy. There's no Prince Charming. I think a part of me always like didn't really have a hope for that. I mean, a lot of people find their Prince Charmings. I'm not saying they don't exist. I'm just saying like my rational side always thought that the chance of me finding the Prince Charming was very slight. But first of all, I did some research to talk about this with you guys. What is a crush? Let's start right there, okay? A crush is a neurochemical and psychological phenomenon involving temporary infatuation, reward system activation, and idealization of another person. So basically, it's something that does not hit your psychological self. Oh, it's something in your head. No, sweetie, darling, it hits your brains. Okay? It hits all of your neurological pathways and it messes up with your head. Okay? So sometimes we think like we're going crazy. Like, bro, there's no way I find this person attractive. Or why do I feel this way? Why? I'll just avoid it. Sometimes you just can't. Sometimes it's just there and you gotta learn and deal with it. So, how do you know you have a crush? What are the symptoms of a crush, right? Well, when you have a crush, your brain releases a cocktail of chemicals, mainly dopamine, norepinephrine, and phenylethylamine. I'm sorry, people that go to medical, biological, whatever sciences, if I said that wrong, but which are the same ones involved in early stages of a romantic love. Guys, this is so cute. Okay. So, a crush, I know, it's like everyone knows this. A crush is the start of the end, okay? It's with a crush that you you develop the starting stages of that romantic love, and then maybe, who knows, gets married one day. But how do I know that I have a crush for this person? How do I know if I really like them, or if it's just, me going crazy for a little while? Because sometimes that's it. Sometimes you look at that person and you're like, wait a damn minute. Wait a damn minute. You're cute. And then 2 days go by and you're like, wait, you're not that cute. What was I thinking? So how do we know if it's just some, glitch, or if we actually like that person? Well, here are some causes: increased heart rate and excitement when you see or think about that person, obsessive thoughts or daydreaming, a sense of euphoria or anxiety. Brother, I have some crazy stories about this. Because when I have a crush, Lord help me. I get I get insanely crazy. Like, I don't know why. Every time I have like this massive crush, it's not a crush, it's a crash. Okay, it's a fucking cliff. I get out of myself. Like, my hands are sweaty. I am shaking. My heartbeat, like my heartbeat, I can't even speak. My heartbeat is so like fast that all my entire body is hot. I can't stop laughing, or I can't stop smiling. If my life depends on it, I can't. That person could be like sneezing. I'm smiling. I'm like, I just can't contain myself. You're so cute. you know? And I get dumb. I get dumb. So it's kind of insane. I don't like it at all because I feel stupid. Okay, I have so many stories about this. There was this one guy. I think my first crush ever was on like first grade. And in Brazilian schools, you have like, in the system, you have either classes in the morning or classes in the afternoon, and you can like pick your shift. Your parents obviously pick it for you, and like according to their working schedules. But anyway, I was in the morning one. And I liked this guy from the like afternoon because my parents could never like actually pick me up at noon when classes ended. So I would always stay until like 1 or 2 in the afternoon at school, and I would see him, and he was just gorgeous. He had brown hair, green eyes, and he was just, I don't know, he caused something. It was the first crush ever, and I had a crush on him for a while. Did I ever do something about it? No. My friends did once. My friends at that time, they told him I liked him, and I was so embarrassed I actually ran. Yes, I ran. My second grade asked, because this was already in second grade. Yes, I am a consistent person with my crushes. And I just ran. I just bolted out of there. In the end. But yeah, another time in sixth grade, I had this massive crush for another guy, and oh my God, this was like, I'm traumatized. Till this day, I cannot have another crush like that again, because it was like I couldn't control anything. I would have butterflies all the time. I'd be smiley. I'd oh my God, and it was horrible because he we like I switched schools, and I went to this Catholic one, and we had to pray before classes started. So we would all, like the entire class, we would go to the front of the classroom, and we would hold hands and pray the Holy Father. And I'll tell you this, there was one day where he was next to me and I had to hold his hand. I was so nervous, guys. I cannot. I was so nervous. My hands were so sweaty. I was hot from head to toe. I had anxiety at its highest. Okay. And when it came to me like holding his hand, my hands were so sweaty. He actually let go of my hand, like leaned a little bit on his like shorts, and said like, "Your hands are so sweaty." And I said, "Are they? I think it's yours." I said, "Nah, that's you, bro. Nah, me? My hands sweaty? No, 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 no." So yeah, so that was terrifying. Actually, that was horrible. And the guy like he knew I liked him. Like, I was not subtle at all. And that's what makes it even harder because I have no guts. Like, I'm a coward, 100%. I have no guts of coming up to a guy and say, like, I have a crush on you. I don't think that'll ever happen. And if it does, I'll deserve an award, honestly, because I am a little chicken, okay? I'll do nothing. And at that time, I was not subtle at all because I had all these symptoms like going on at the same time and hormones and teenager and everything. So I couldn't control myself. He knew and he would make fun of me. It was horrible. It was very traumatizing. So yeah, crushes sometimes can be traumatizing, guys. But they can also be so good. Like I have these stories now of me acting like a buffoon because I was in love, instantly in love. And I mean it happens, right? I think at the end of the day it's fun. It's fun to get ready in the morning and think like, oh, maybe I'll see him today. I'll wear this cute outfit. I'll make my hair prettier. I'll do this with my makeup. It's fun. And it's not like, oh, Malu, so you're saying that girls, they only get ready for guys. No, I'm saying that I like to get ready. And I like him to see me pretty when I feel pretty. That's just that. Deal with it. But have you ever had a crush? Really? Have you ever experienced this? Because if you didn't, then that's totally fine. I think that there is such a pressure in our society for people to either have boyfriends or to have a crush every day or this and that. I have a crush every week just because I think it's interesting. I like the adrenaline. I'm not gonna lie, I like the anxiety. I'm complaining here to you guys, but at the end of the day, I kind of like it. But there are some people that don't like it at all, and they're actually super fine with being by themselves. And I 100% support this. Okay, 100%. Because I am a girl that never dated anyone. Like I never had a boyfriend. And for a minute there in my life, it was so hard because I would see people like around 6th grade to 8th to like beginning of high school, everyone was like getting together and having girlfriends and having boyfriends and their first kisses and everything. And I felt such a pressure to fit in, to also have my first kiss, to also kiss a bunch of guys, to also like have all these experiences. And I'm going to tell you, some of these experiences are not worth it. They're just not worth it at all. Sometimes just staying in your lane and let people make their own mistakes is better. And I learned this in high school, honestly, because middle school, like around 6th grade, 7th, 8th was like the year where I did most things to just fit in. We would go to these like parties and we would go to meet these guys and I would like go along because all my friends were doing it, and I would feel like a fucking loser. It's not even they would think that I'm a loser. I would think that I'm a loser if I'm not doing what they're doing. But when it was in high school, when it got to high school, like my freshman year, we had the pandemic, so I didn't really go out, didn't really do anything. Um, and then for the following years, I was so like, I was depressed or I was super anxious or didn't feel like myself most of the time. So I would just, keep it to myself, stay home a little bit. I was a little bit antisocial. And honestly, I think it was good for me to be a little antisocial because it helped me so much with just like being comfortable in my own skin and being comfortable with who I am and my company. I got to appreciate so much more the times I was alone. And I really got over the idea of like, oh, finding my other half or finding this or being complete and like all that bullshit. Honestly, that's bullshit. Okay, that's bullshit. You don't need another half. You don't need another person. Yes, you can find another person, you can find another orange, but you're already a whole orange by yourself. And that's what many people that I would see around me, like a lot of my friends, they just didn't get it yet. They didn't get that they were okay, that it was totally fine to just be you, do your nails, have your whole day by yourself, do the things you like, eat the things you like, and not give two fucks about other people. It was always a competition of like, oh, who's talking to this guy? Who's doing this? Who's doing that? And I was never in the discussion. I love, though, to come in the morning every Monday and hear everything about the weekend. I'm not going to say that these habits were 100% healthy because it wasn't. I was in my house a lot of the time, and I did feel left out sometimes. I did feel like I wasn't socializing as much. I wasn't close to my peers as much because they were going out all the time together, and I was never there. And I didn't go, not because I didn't want to. I'm gonna leave that very clear. Oh, Malusa, you were saying that you were this higher being and you never had FOMO and whatever. I did, guys. I did. It was just because my parents, they were a little bit strict about me going out. They didn't want me to go out. They didn't want me to stay late. And so I never did really have those experiences at that time. I'm having them now. Like, I live alone. I live in another continent. There's not much they can do right now. But um, I think it was good because I saw all these people like making these mistakes that at that time, honestly, it wasn't really mistakes. It was just like I saw them growing up. I saw them grow up with these, bad experiences and good experiences, and I got to learn from their experiences. Like, I didn't have to go to that one, like, party and do that one thing and, regret later in the morning. I just saw them. Like, I heard the stories and I saw them regretting it. And I was like, okay, so mental note, not do that. and and honestly, that was good. That was good because I like I even have an episode about this here that is like, oh, it's in Portuguese, but it's an episode where I say like, oh, coach doesn't play. And it's basically that, like, they would get into these situationships and they would get frustrated with these guys, like my girlfriends. And I would like give them advice and I'd be like, okay, so why don't you do this and why don't you do that? And why do you feel like this? Because for me, being out of the situation and not emotionally involved, it was so much easier to deal with all that. And love does blind you, okay? That one guy in sixth grade, he treated me like shit. Okay, I put up with a lot of shit in my life, not only with him but with other guys too, and I'm low key traumatized for it, low key. But we're gonna talk about that in a little bit. But I deal with so much shit that at this point, like, I just learned from it. You can just learn from your mistakes, from other people's mistakes, and you just gotta deal with the pressure. Because when we're teenagers, we're dealing with so many hormones, so many like changes, like from your like actual biological self to even like the way that your hair looks. Like, everything changes, literally everything. And for girls, I think it's also harder because we go through our periods. And so even if the hormones are changing, they're not even stable. I think for guys, your hormones change and you have like these peaks of, I don't know, testosterone and whatever, and your voice changes, but everything is somewhat like kind of stable. But with girls, like every single month, we're going through it, bruh. We're going through it. And so it's so much harder. And I feel like that's why um, girls usually go through so many emotions during their teenage years. At least from the stories I heard, like, I, I don't know, maybe my friends, maybe it was like my friend circle. Maybe you are a guy and you dealt with a lot of shit too. But um like, I feel like my guy friends, they went smoothly with it most of the time, at least. It wasn't like much about their own emotions, but like people's emotions with them. And with girls, I feel like it's how people act and how you feel and how they feel is like in my teenagers, I felt like I was in a war field. It was It was like you go through this one bomb and there's another. So if you're currently in your teenage years, good luck. Okay, good luck, but everything's gonna be all right. I'm alive. I dealt with it. Everything's fine. So you're gonna be fine. Okay, you're gonna be fine. Hold my hand. We're going to be fine. Okay, because honestly, I still feel like a teenager. I'm only 20, guys. I just turned 20. Like I have no clue what I'm doing, honestly. But okay, I opened a huge tangent here. Let's go back. Why do people think that they have to have boyfriends and girlfriends all the time? And how do we transition from this idea of crushes to, oh my God, I actually want to be with this person? Well, from what I gathered in my research, the teenage young adult brain is wired to chase emotional highs, and romance is a prime source of that. Well, I think that these emotional highs, they can be like not only um having like these wild experiences, and I think that's why everyone went batshit crazy during high school. It's because we look for the emotional highs. We want the drama. We seek the gossip. And I wasn't there, but I was invested in knowing about everything on Monday mornings, okay? And so everyone is just doing everything all the time, and everything is like huge. And oh my God, did you see that this person did that? Oh my God, they hooked up with somebody else and they did this. And it's everything feels so much bigger than it is. And honestly, that's kind of interesting. Along with the emotional highs, we look for highs in general. We want this adrenaline. So that's why you see a lot of people drinking and going crazy, and a lot of people just smoking and doing everything. And I think that that's kind of dangerous, honestly, if you think about adrenaline all the time, because there is a point where, for me, it was entertaining. It was entertaining to see all the gossip and all the things that happened during the weekend. But for my friends that actually went through that, sometimes it was just harmful. It was just bad for them. Like they didn't feel great afterwards. Today, years later, we can laugh about it. But at that time, it wasn't awesome. You didn't wake up in the morning and think like, holy shit, that was great. You just got to deal with it. And because things feel so much bigger, it's actually like more complicated to just rationalize and move on from it. Biologically, teenagers look for pair bonding and social connection. And romantic relationships become a way to explore who you are, what you like, how you communicate, and what kind of person you want to be with. And that goes along with the other episode, the last episode I did on friendships. And I think I did it in Portuguese. But I did an episode on friendships for Halloween. And that's exactly it. Like, at the end of the day, the person you date or the people that you hang out with, they directly mirror who you are or who you like or what you value in a person. So if you're dating a very hardworking person and they're so kind to everyone and they're so fun, that reflects on your values as well, and what you think is good and what you think is bad. If you date like a person that just it's super negative and just like does wrong things with people all the time and doesn't even care about them or doesn't care about other people's feelings, that reflects also on you and what you think it's okay. If you think that it's okay for that person to be fucking awful with everyone, then that's a value that you have as well. And I think that's something that some people overlook sometimes. And that's why people often break up right when they start. Like I've seen so many relationships of people just breaking up with like 6 months in or 3 months in. And it's because they actually realized that those people that they envisioned as their boyfriends or their girlfriends were actually not that great and didn't actually fit what they thought they would be. Seeing others in relationships create a social pressure, and the sense of being coupled equals being valued or normal. A romantic person can serve as an emotional anchor, providing comfort, validation, and reassurance. And guys, this is actually so dangerous because when you just are with someone because you want to be with someone, that's when you harm yourself. I've seen that in so many of my friends because I've seen people that weren't ready for relationships and just put themselves in another relationship after relationship just because they didn't want to be alone or they couldn't be alone or they needed someone to tell them that they were valued and that they were enough and that they were hot. If you need that validation, I'll give it to you right now. You're hot. You're awesome. You're cool. You're a good person. You're enough. You don't need all these people around you all the time telling you that. You don't need that. And that's what I learned from being alone is that you don't need other people's validation as long as you think that about yourself. And if you don't, then you just have to work on your self-esteem and not on your love life. Because your love life is going to go and it's going to evolve as you figure yourself out. Like today for me, after going through so many like tough parts of my emotional health and going through this like awful like heartbreaks that I've had, right now I feel so much safer with myself that it actually scares me to get into another relationship. I'm not gonna lie. I am not gonna lie to you. I am not the most self like secure person, like confident when it comes to my love life. I'm not. Okay, I'm not. I'm just like you. I don't know really what's going to happen in my life and who's going to show up and who is going to, treat me badly and who's going to be good to me. I have no idea of that. But I have to risk it in order to live a life, with emotion, with highs and lows, ups and downs, happiness and sadness, because that's what life is about. So if you can't deal with being alone and deal with a heartbreak and deal with the sad parts of life, you're never going to be fulfilled because you're never going to learn anything from anything. You're just going to go from one relationship to the other and one relationship to the other, and then you realize that you never actually digested anything. You never actually stopped yourself and said, okay, now how do I feel about this? How do I want to move on? Do I need to move on right now? Should I just stay sad for a little bit and feel these emotions and then maybe, spend a little time by myself and think about it and think about who I want to be now and how I want to act before I find somebody else, before I think of a relationship again? Because it's also a consideration with your own feelings. When we go through a breakup or when we really like someone, it's a lot of energy invested. Okay, it's a lot of emotions that you put on that person. And when you just move on, like so fast to go to another person just to numb that one pain, you're actually disregarding your own feelings as well. Okay, so that all that energy, all that time, all that sentiment that I had just went down the drain because I'm gonna make it nothing. I'm gonna act as if it meant nothing. You're just wasting your own time at that point. Why'd you do all that then? It's much better to just stop for a little bit and just have some patience with yourself. Because I feel like when it comes to love, not a lot of people have patience for themselves. And I'm going to say this because I feel like I don't have a lot of patience with myself. Because when I have a crush, when I have a little crush for someone, it's so easy because it actually means nothing. I just think you're cute. You just make me a little nervous. It's fine. But when I have a crush for someone, when I actually like them, it scares me. It makes me go anxious. It makes me go on emotional roller coasters, okay? Because I don't know how to react with it. I don't know what to do. I start thinking, no, I don't like them. Of course I don't like them. I can't like them. And sometimes you just gotta be patient with yourself. You just gotta be kind with yourself. Okay, maybe I have a crush for this person. What am I gonna do about it? Oh, do I want to act on it? Because there's also that. You can have a crush with someone and not act on it at all. and just think, okay, I don't want to get emotionally involved right now, so I'm just gonna, feel like this and feel happy with them and whatever. But I don't want to actually invest my time in a relationship or in something greater because I emotionally cannot deal with it. Sometimes you just gotta understand your own side of things instead of being like, oh, I'm so stupid. I can't believe I'm gonna be used again. I can't believe I'm being like this dumb. Do I ever learn or what the fuck? You don't have to bring all that negativity to the things that you feel. You can just try and be patient with yourself and be like, oh, why? Because sometimes, even when we're getting over people, we're like, why do I keep thinking about them? Why do I keep bringing them up? I'm so fucking stupid. They don't even care about me. And I'm doing this. And I understand that feeling because I've been so angry with myself so many times about this. Because it's tough, okay? It's tough when you care about someone and that person doesn't even care about you at all. And you feel that way. And you feel like you've spent all this like love and energy with someone that didn't even deserve it. And it makes you feel awful because it's like, how the fuck did I choose this person? Am I dumb? Am I actually dumb? Why did I choose you? And sometimes, like, the heart just wants what it wants. Sometimes it just happens. And you gotta be patient with yourself. Like, how would you know that that person wasn't going to like you back? How would you know that all of this was going to happen? And even if you did know, even if you thought that that person didn't really like you, but he still invested that time, people make mistakes, okay? Imagine as if you're talking with your best friend. Would you judge them that harshly? Would you actually, like, curse them out for liking somebody else? People have feelings, people make mistakes, and you will make so many mistakes. Oh my God. You were going to make a lot of mistakes. And you just got to deal with it. You just got to accept the fact that life is not going to be easy and that life is not going to be fun all the time. And that people are going to break your heart. But you cannot be one of those people. You cannot be one of those people that just aren't there for you. Because I was one of them. I wasn't there for me at all at some point. And it was hard. It was bad. And you deserve all the kindness and all the happiness and all the love in your life. So don't be in your own way for that, Be patient with yourself. Give yourself a little tap in the back and be like, okay, you're a good person. You actually have nice feelings for other people. Even though they don't have those for you, you are a good person. But well, having a crush can be overall a good experience, okay? And getting over those crushes can too, okay? Some things that you shouldn't do when you're getting over a crush, though, it's get a rebound. And I know sometimes we think like, oh, I just need to kiss somebody else. I just need to go on a date. I just need to be with other people and see that that person is not the only person in the world. And I get it. Honestly, I get it. I think you should, but not right after losing that one crush. Because again, you just got to process the feelings. And getting a rebound, it's actually like going to be just you trying to cover them up. And eventually they're going to be uncovered. And you'll have to do that. You have to deal with that, whether you like it or not, someday. But what was the longest time I took then to get over a crush? 5? No, to get over a crush, I think it was like 2 or 3. Because I had a crush on the person for 5 years. And I think 2 of them was like me trying to get over it. And I felt so stupid because it was like, bro, it's been 2 years. Just fucking get over it. Just deal with the fact that it's not going to happen. And sometimes it's just not that easy. Sometimes you just can't force yourself to feel that way. And that's because from my research, I gathered that neuroscience shows that romantic attraction activates the same reward circuits as addictive substances, especially dopamine pathways. So when you nurture that feeling for that one person for so long, you're actually it's actually as if you're using a drug. That person is now, when there's so many songs saying like, oh, I'm high for you, oh, this and that, because it actually messes up with your brain. It actually messes up with like your neurological pathways, just like a drug would. And it's because when we feel things about like for people and we invest that sentiment, we are actually releasing hormones and we're releasing things to our brain to think like, oh my God, that person, I really like them. They're so cute. That happens. So you just can't think that you're going to be like overnight over them, because you're not. Gotta give your brain a little time to detoxicate from that person and to be clean from that sentiment and all that idealization that you had and move on. Crushes are built on projection, okay? Your mind fills in the blanks about who that person is, often making them way more perfect than reality. And that's really actually something that makes me someone that takes a long time to get over people. Because I love to daydream, guys. I love it. I When I go to sleep and think about that person, be like, oh shit. Like imagine if we had that one day. Imagine if they did this. Okay, but what if that happened? Okay, they would act like this. Obviously, they would act like this. Like I am a fucking I was raised in fan fiction, guys. Like I cannot tell you how many times I just put myself in a awkward situation just because I envisioned that person would act differently. And then I came to my psychologist and was like, bro, why? Why didn't they act this and this way? Because I had this planned. I had it all planned in my head and it didn't go through. Why? And she was just like, Malu, you can't expect people to act the way you want them to. And this was such a shock, guys. This was such a shock. Because actually, yeah, I can't. And we get so involved in our wants and our needs and what we want to happen because we want it so badly. And when it doesn't go through, you're like, what happened? And it's just because at the end of the day, people do have free will. And people will act the way that they want to act and not the way that you want them to. And that just messes up with your plans, sometimes. And then you get pissed off and you're like, well, why? I had a future for us. I had the whole script. I have the name of our babies and you do this? But sometimes that's just it. You just got to deal with it. You just got to deal with the fact that people don't read your script sometimes. But then, even without a relationship, small interactions, eye contact, touch, even just imagining closeness, release oxytocin, the bonding hormone. And oxytocin promotes attachment. Every time I hear oxytocin, I just think of the Billie Eilish song. And, well, yeah, oxytocin builds attachment. And that's why sometimes it's so hard to not text them. It's so hard to not see them. And when you do see them, you're like, oh my God, they're there. Oh my God, they're there. Oh, I can't wait to see them. Oh my God. And it makes your whole day because you saw that person and you like to see them. They make your day better. They make you feel, you laugh around them and you're just happy to be there, honestly. And when you don't have that anymore, you just feel alone. And that's when it comes the feeling of you're not enough, or that you're such useless. You're so useless because everything, all the happiness that came with seeing that person actually replaced the happiness you felt on your own. You felt like you didn't need that one happy time where you were by yourself eating some ice cream at a park because you sought them at that one moment before you go to the park. So now you channel that happiness to them and not to the other moments that were happy in your days. And after you end that relationship or you stop seeing that person, everything seems so dull and so blue because when you were so happy with them, you didn't actually realize the other happy moments of your life. Because you did have other happy moments. Otherwise, I'm sorry, darling, but that one person wouldn't be able to be the whole motivation of happiness in your life. You would just be depressed with a crush. And if that one person was the only happy thing in your life, then you need to find some emotional help. And I'm saying this with a lot of love in my heart. I'm not judging you at all. I'm just saying that it's not normal to channel all your happiness and all your will and all your motivation on one person because it's dangerous. What if they leave? What are you going to do? Are you going to be like sad for the rest of your life just because of that one person? And I think it's important for us to know that there's more to life. There are other people in the world. We can fall in love over and over and over again and find amazing things in other people and learn from them. You just got to let yourself do that and see hope in the ending of things. So, at the end of the day, we are going to have crushes and we are going to have these idealizations and we are going to think of our types. I have a very specific type. I'm not going to lie to you. I like tall men. Ugh, I like tall men. Not going to lie to you. Tall, brunette, maybe tattoos. I like mustaches. I like brown eyes, green eyes. Oh my God. I love them. I can't. And a lot of my friends, they know this. They know this because I can't see a guy with a mustache and I'm like, oh my God, you're so beautiful. Like, my friends know this. And it's actually a problem because sometimes they're just even not that cute. They just have a mustache. It's that one saying like, are they actually cute or are they just tall? Are they actually awesome or do they just have tattoos? Are they just your type? Because biologically, we are wired to like traits linked to health and survival, symmetry, confidence, or certain sense. But when it comes to physical attraction, actually, like muscle man or more scrawny man or tall or short, blonde, brunette, redhead, you know, all that comes with familiarity, familiarity, yes, attachment, culture, and identity. So sometimes if you spend a lot of your life looking up to people that look a certain way, you will grow up to think that those people are more attractive or they are more suitable for maybe be your husband or your wife or this or that. And it's not about prejudice or discrimination because one thing is for you to have a type, another thing is for you to just be rude or shit on other people's looks because that's not it. It's not because I think brunettes are more attractive that I'll shit on blonde men. They're attractive too. I am just more likely to like brunette men. That's just the way I'm wired. Like, I do not control that, you know? So, at the end of the day, types are not an excuse for discrimination. They're just, a little bit of your personality and your culture and your identity and the people that you surround yourself with all combined in something that you could possibly like. And so I hear a lot of people saying like, oh, what if my soulmate is not my type? And I've heard so many of those stories, guys. It's actually so interesting because a lot of like I follow a lot of women on TikTok that are married. And they're like on their 20s and they're married and they say like, "Oh, my husband was not my type at all. My husband was not my type." but you fell in love with this person. How? How do you fall in love with someone that is not your type? And what is a soulmate after all? Do you believe in soulmates? Well, you can feel immediate attraction to your type, chemistry-wise, but a lasting, meaningful connection, a soulmate energy, that one person that matches you, that one person that you really have a deep connection with, depends on emotional depth solely, trust, and growth together. Things your type doesn't guarantee. So, because I feel more attractive to brunette guys, will I just not go out with any other guy? Nope. I am a very eclectic person, honestly, and I think you should be too. And I say this because I've seen so many people just saying like, oh no, they're not my type. I won't flirt with them. They're not my type. Nah, I won't go out with them. They're not even my type. Brother, get over yourself. Maybe you'll have a good time. One thing is for you to not go on a date or not talk to them or not do this or not do that because you actually don't think your personalities match, or because you don't think that they have the same values as you, or you actually don't think that they're attractive. Because some people hold themselves in such high regard and judge other people for thinking on the physical attractive parts as well of a person. But I think that's just as important. I think, obviously, personality and values and all that, they're a must. They are a must. You cannot, I could not see myself marrying someone that doesn't match what I love about a person, what I value about a person, in their personality, in their actions, in the way that they think. I could not dismiss intellect over a six-pack. Get what I mean? Having a six-pack is nice, obviously. If you do have one, you do you. If you don't, that's fine, as long as you're a good person. As long as I find you attractive in other ways. In short, your soulmate might look nothing like your type, because deep, lasting love isn't always about the surface preferences your brain usually seeks. So at the end of the day, it is important for you to feel physically attracted to someone, or it is important for you to, want to be near that person and look at them and think, oh my God, you're so hot. It's important. Oh my God, I want to have a boyfriend and look at him and be like, oh my God, I actually want to eat you right now. It is important, guys. You cannot run away from it. Okay? But you can find that person attractive in many ways. Intelligence, oh my God. Intelligence is actually the thing that always gets me. Actually. You could be, I don't know, fucking Brad Pitt in Titanic. Okay? That man, gorgeous, beautiful. But if you're dumb, if you don't know that 2 + 2 is 4, might as well be dead to me. Might as well, guys. I cannot handle dumb men. And that's just a deal breaker to me. You gotta be smart, you gotta be funny, you gotta be someone that I can talk with. And if you're not, then maybe just a little kiss. Anyway, guys, this was today's episode. I hope you loved it, because I certainly loved recording this. And I'll see you on the next episode. Please listen to the other episodes of the Podcast podcast on Spotify, YouTube, and Patreon. And I'll see you on the next one. Bye!